Hello, this is Dr. RoboCoach with the review of Fantasy Pros Draft Wizard. And I already covered the Draft Assistant you see right here. And the Draft Wizard also includes another feature for mock drafts. And let's just get into it. I'll show you what it's doing. So I click Start. This is the league that I synced with CBS Sports. And so I want to start a mock draft for that league. And basically what it's going to do, what it's done is it's pulled in my league scoring, PPR. Um, I have some complaints about the way it pulled in the scoring because there's more to my league than just PPR. There's also yardage bonuses, but they've not pulled in anything like that or any of the other uh, idiosyncrasies of the scoring system. It did get the number of teams and my draft position correct. It's got the roster positions correct. Down here, this is the configuration of the AI that I'll draft against. And then this is the cheat sheet that it's going to supply for me. The latest Fantasy Pros ECR, experts consensus rankings. And as I've discussed in other videos, I don't really care for rankings or expert consensuses because, well, you can watch the other videos and you'll understand. So let's just get into it and start the draft. Anyway, long story short, you should place value-based drafting above experts consensus picks because the experts, they don't know your league. And what they say is a great pick might be a great pick for their league, but hey, that's not you. So in any event, the draft has begun. Here you can see the draft log. These are the players that have been drafted so far, and there I am, the farm. I'm on the clock. Not really, because there is no clock. I'm drafting against AI. I can take as long as I would like. So I am not big against drafting against AI. If I want to play AI, I would, but I don't. And I'll explain that later. Let's just go with the auto draft setting and just let it run to completion. So this part is nice. You see it's a good presentation, lots of colors, and it snakes through the draft like a good computer, following its algorithm. And then at the end, it gives you a draft rating. And of course, since I use their cheat sheet, it gives me an A. How else could I have got an A? Um, but in any event, it doesn't really tell you how to get out of this window, but I figured out if you click elsewhere, you can get back to the draft room. And that's my team, and there are my picks, DeAndre, Kittle, Woods. So I don't really want to talk about the individual picks, whether they were good or bad. I'm more interested, I'm reviewing this tool. And is it a good tool or is it not a good tool? That's what I want to talk about. So it's a simulation. That's really good. That's what computers do great. But the point of simulation isn't for you to learn, it's for the computer to learn. Um, so uh, I'm not really big on practicing to get good at something that a computer should be doing for me anyway. The point of artificial intelligence is for it to do my work for me, not for me to practice against it. So right off the bat, but that's not really what this tool is. It's a simulator. Um, but I'll get to that in a little more depth later. Um, so let's take a look at, what it did. It drafted all the different positions, and it did so using not really my exact scoring system, and it did so not really using value-based drafting. I was using a cheat sheet of expert consensus rankings. So I would give it a thumbs down. So overall, as a mock draft simulator, if that's your thing and you want to practice against AI, then this is great. But as um, somebody who works with these things, um, that's I would call um, a waste of time. So think of it sort of like this: is if this were a game of chess, um, you would practice against the AI. That you might find that fun, or wouldn't you just rather have the AI make your moves for you? Wouldn't that be much simpler? And then you could eliminate all the practice. Um, so to me, that sounds like the best move. I mean, if there's money on the line, um, then I'm gonna let the chess master make my moves, and I'm gonna skip all the practice because basically in chess and in fantasy football, it's a mathematical game of odds and percentages, and computers do that better than human beings can. I think that's been proven now. Um, in any event, so what is this good for? Well, I think this tool is good in conjunction with the draft assistant. So the draft assistant, um, when I used that tool, it didn't tell me um, where the best place to draft is. I was given the seventh slot, but I could easily trade down. Players are always interested in trading down. They're under the impression that the first draft pick in a snake draft is the best draft pick. That's not the case. Um, if you simulate these drafts over and over and over and over again, then you'll find that these different slots have certain expected scoring outcomes when you add up the whole team for the whole season. So you might find that being in the 16th spot of an 18 team draft, for some reason, that slot seems to come up with the most expected value over and over and over again. So here's the 16th slot. Let's just take a look. It's this team called Amish. And I'm not saying that's the case, but I'm just saying hypothetically, it might be that usually your draft, it, the scoring is determined by the first three or so picks. And so this player gets the wrap, and he gets two running backs, Nick Chubb and Dalvin Cook. Hmm. And that makes all the difference. So on the third wrap, he gets Tyler Boyd, and then on the next wrap, he gets that player. And when you simulate that over and over and over again, you'll find out that, hey, it's best this year to be in the 17th slot or the 18th slot or whatever. And that, will depend upon how many teams are in your league and what your scoring setup is. But that's for the computer to figure out and for them to tell you, for the computer to tell you. So I refer to this as a power slot. What's the power slot? Where do I actually want to draft? And since I can take advantage of the people in my league who are always trying to get a lower draft pick, then I can trade back in the draft as far as I want, typically. So, and the seventh pick, I could talk to Amish and say, okay, I want the 16th overall pick. That would be intelligence. That's artificial intelligence. That's the whole point of this simulation is to find if it was run over and over and over again, and I'm not talking 10 times or 20 times or 100 times, I'm talking hundreds of thousands of times, there'll be tendencies. Computers can run through 100,000 simulations in a matter of seconds if it's done right. So it can come back to you and tell you that, and then you can be ready for draft day. Because once you've got your slot, then that determines a whole lot. Um, so, for example, it determines what players are going to be available to you when it's your turn comes around. So I'm not getting that here. Basically, all I'm getting here is just practice, and it's, not necessarily good practice because um, it's I'm not really learning anything here. I'm learning against consensus rankings and average draft picks. And I told you I'd talk about rankings before. Rankings are really no good. Rankings are done Consensus rankings are done with what's the scoring system? How many teams are in that ranking? Um, and that a consensus ranking of um, where the rules are different doesn't apply to you. So you shouldn't be interested in rankings. You should be interested in customized point totals predicted for your league, your scoring system, your team configurations. Throw all the expert consensus rankings out because it's not custom tailored for you. It's like buying a suit off the rack. It's not going to quite fit. And it matters. The little things matter. So in addition, it's not going to give you uh, what you need really to get over the top. And to get over the top means these small little important customizations that are for your league and your setup, your draft slot, for example. So that's what artificial intelligence can do. It's called value-based drafting, and it's called power slots. And I'm not getting it here with a mock draft simulator, and I didn't get it with the draft assistant either. So overall, I'd say as a mock draft simulator, this is great. It's visually nice, but as a tool that will help me win, um, it's not good. It's not like a chess master. It's not going to tell me what move I should make next. And it could, by if it told me where I wanted to draft, and it, but it, but it's not doing that. The draft assistant, watch that video. That it's deficient in that sense. If Fantasy Pros married the draft simulator with the draft assistant to do simulations that presented customized suggestions like the ones I've just discussed to you, then I'd say this is an A plus tool, but it's not there yet. This is just a mock draft simulator. It's not intelligence, and I'd give it a C. Thank you very much. This has been Dr. Robo Coach. Please like this and subscribe. Good luck in your 2019 season, and I'll put a link in the description to the article that inspired this review. Thanks.